From Variety, celebrating 121 years covering the business of entertainment, this is the Awards Circuit Podcast. Black Rabbit and DTF St. Louis Emmy nominee Jason Bateman also has some of the best hair on television, but he warns that is about to change.
It's receding. The hairline's finally going back into something that's more age appropriate for me. So, and they said there's some gray coming in too. So here comes, I'm going to finally start looking like a bit more of an adult, which is kind of nice.
I'm Michael Schneider, and on this episode of the Variety Awards Circuit Podcast, we talk to Emmy overachiever Jason Bateman, a nominee and limited actor for Netflix's Black Rabbit, limited supporting actor for HBO Max's DTF St. Louis, limited director for Black Rabbit, and limited series as an EP on DTF St. Louis. But first, on the roundtable, Phase 2 Emmy voting is underway. Where does everything stand? It's all next on this edition of the Variety Awards Circuit Podcast. Stay close.
Michael Schneider, executive TV editor at Variety.
Clayton Davis joins us now. He's the chief awards editor of Variety.
Variety's director of features, Emily Longaretta.
Variety's senior artisans editor, Jazz Tanke.
From Hollywood, it's Variety's Awards Circuit Podcast.
And it is the roundtable. Voting is happening. Vote early, vote often. No, that's actually not how it works. We got Clayton Davis, we got Emily Longaretta, we got Jazz Tanke, I'm Michael Schneider, and a couple more days. Procrastinators, get to it.
Can we all come together and just personally thank Emily Longaretta, who finally got out every EE issue that was known to man. She said, "I'm gonna do all of them."
To be fair, you guys all did a lot. That was not me. That was a lot of you guys. I mean, it was me too, but it was a lot of us. So it's a group effort, and I'm happy that phase 1 and phase 2 are over. Like I'm done with this. So
they're not over, Emily. They're not over. I mean, we're recording this podcast. We still have podcasts. We still have things.
Of course, but that part is what we can do. What I can do for the voters, I feel like is over. Now all the information is out there, and now it's their time to make a decision.
It's their time to shine. We still have a couple of things lingering for all of you to go to Awards Circuit on Variety.com and read some last-minute stories and figure out how you're voting. Because, I do talk to a lot of people who haven't voted yet because they are waiting until the very last minute. They're procrastinators, much like myself. So things are still happening. There's still final events, but most of it has accomplished. Last weekend was a ridiculous weekend. There was so much happening, and we were all over the place last week. Emily is yawning. She's still
I'm literally yawning thinking about it.
We had the Televerse.
How was Televerse? Was it televersal for everyone that attended? Thanks, Mike.
It was.
I feel like it needed. Here's what I'll say. I feel like, because it's a mix of Televerse, Televerse is a mix of FYC and like a TV festival, it needed a bit of like delineation with that. I feel like it was kind of all over the place, and I was at like a panel there was like a revenge reunion happening, and there was a lot going on, and I was a little bit like, it's strange. It's always a weird thing to me.
Yeah, I think, and I did the Homeland reunion, which was a blast. It was a lot of fun talking to Howard Gordon and Alex Scanza and all that, but it does feel like a little bit of a disconnect. Is it an FYC event or is it a TV festival? And maybe it needs to just be an FYC event. I don't know. But there's there's still so much attention on the shows on the FYC of Phase 2 that maybe that should be the focus. And there's a lot of conversation about, well, should it just be at the TV Academy? Does it need to be at the JW Marriott? But I get it. They have their relationship with the JW Marriott because that's where the Hall of Fame takes place, and that's where the Emmys will take place at the Peacock Theater in a couple of weeks. So, I get it. I was at the Hall of Fame event, and it was actually very lovely. It was a great event, with Gene Smart and the South Park guys and Ted Sarandos, and it was a lovely event, and so that kind of kicked off the Televerse weekend. But we had Televerse, but then we have competing events like HBO Max had a day-long festival of panels and food and everything on Sunday that Emily and I were both at.
Yeah. Mike and I were holding down the fort there. We were in our little corner just mingling all day with people.
And it was kind of a great place to be because people were just like coming in throughout the day, and you could go over and have a great chat with John Wells and Scott Gemmell, and then suddenly the JPL from Hacks were there, and all the big producers and stars, and that was a blast. Yeah. But it was exhausting at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
I think what Televerse is, it's trying to be like, the final stop right before voting starts. And I think with a TV Academy that's this large, this massive, it's over 20,000, we hear it a lot from studios and networks. Like, they're really weighing their ROI. Like, they do this, like, is it a needle mover, or have people really... what's going to happen is going to happen, and you can't stop what's coming, kind of thing. And I think that's been an interesting question, which feeds into a lot of the things that have happened this year, like just changes the TV Academy's making and all that. But before we get into that, let me drop the pop quiz question for you guys that we'll answer at the end.
That will be terrible.
And we'll see how much you guys read Variety.com. This will test you guys.
Is that a website?
It is a website. It has a lot of good, useful information on there. So if Sean Hattasey wins supporting actor drama for The Pit, it will be his second straight win. But he would win in two separate categories because he won guest last year. This would be supporting actor. There are roughly about a dozen performers who have done that, who have the same role, win in separate categories. Can you guys name me two of those dozen?
Oh, Jesus.
I'll give me two, but then we'll come back to it. And a lot of them are recent, and then a lot of them are from the past. So you have you can jump around, and some of them we'll talk about.
Is it for the same role, you mean? Like
for the same role, but in separate categories.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll come back to that.
Okay. I think increasingly, my sense is they're really going to lean into the emotion this year. When you look at the Michael J. Fox tribute that they're going to do, and then even going with Mariska as the host, given the personal, my mom Jane, and the personal aspect of what she brings to it as well. The smart thing is probably for them to lean into that a little bit more. It's going to be the dramedy Emmys.
Yeah, Emily, true or false? The piano will be on stage with her. You think?
True.
She just chucked it in from home.
Like, just someone get a crane over to. No, she won't do that. She won't take it out.
Shout out to Dan Daddario for the Mariska cover, and to just say, side note, she looked beautiful.
She's literally getting better with age. I don't know what's happening, but whatever's in the water over there on the Upper West Side, crushing it.
I mean, New York water. That's why we got good pizza there.
That's right.
Oh my God. Such a good story, though. Read it if you haven't already done so.
Yeah, very good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else, as we kind of wind down voting, we've talked a lot about the comedy race, and of course that's still the one that people are talking about the most, and it's getting increasingly tight, and it's...
Yeah. It's interesting. If they're thinking that everything's gonna be predictable, I'm like, this year, man, like, I don't say every year, the Emmys will always find a way. Who here, raise your hand if you pegged Jeff Hiller as a spoiler last year? Yeah. Like, I dare anyone to tell me they had him higher than 5 on the list, right? So a surprise can happen. They're going to do what they want to do. And I think this year, it can seem like it's going one way. And I think we have a lot of 50-50s, like, up in many categories. The only thing that really feels solidified, done to me, is that the Pit's winning drama.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing Pitt's going to win drama. You did it. Two in a row, be the 11th series to do the first 2 seasons. Congratulations. It's about how many it wins. I don't know if it's going to sweep, but it's going to be an interesting time. I think everyone just feels like nervous. I think especially publicists, it feels, are really nervous that their clients are going to lose their Emmys because there are some bubbling surprises
I think people are very nervous about Widow's Bay. From some of the conversations I've had, I feel a little bit of nerves coming from competitors about
Widow's Bay and Hacks knows that they are the top 2. They know it, and they are like, we're gonna prove.
Jean Smart, I don't see losing ever, but I think the rest of the categories are up for grabs.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to stick with Jean Smart, but man, oh man, do I just remember Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
Yeah.
I just keep looking at Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but like, granted, the good thing is that Jean Smart Widow's Bay doesn't have a lead actress that's going to take it from her.
Right.
So that is really going to help her. But Lisa Kudrow is kind of right there, and I just wonder
how close that's going to be.
They did a very smart thing with that Televerse that HBO Max panel, Televerse Weekend. Her and Michael Patrick King had like AI moderate instead of, because obviously of the show and what it is.
Brilliant.
While I will not put that out there, and any publicist listening, please don't use AI to moderate. Please ask one of us.
No.
But I think that it was so smart and honestly, like, got people talking about it again. And I'm like, that's exactly what they needed to do. And my friend's loving heart will never count out Lisa Kudrow from anything.
I love that. There is one category that I do want to talk about. Outstanding variety special pre-recorded, where you've got The Muppet Show, which is beloved, I feel like, by an older generation as opposed to like younger kids, and I could be completely wrong on that. But you've also got Taylor Swift, and then you've got Wicked, and Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo now producers on that show. It's been very interesting to see what is, like, last night I moderated the Wicked FYC with the producers. Simultaneously, there was a Taylor Swift event where she performed for Emmys voters, I believe. It was a very stealth thing. Nobody knew about it. There's no photos. All of a sudden today, it was like, this happened. So,
by the way, real quick, do an FYC event that's so stealth that no one knows about it. I don't know if that accomplishes what you wanted to accomplish.
But also, can we talk about this? The Muppet Show, also, Sabrina Carpenter was part of that. Like, literally, it's Sabrina, Ariana, and Taylor Swift are the people in this. Like, what?
Oh, we're not talking enough about that SmackDown. Jazz, what are we thinking? What are you thinking?
I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I'm like, there's so much love for Wicked. Taylor didn't really campaign for this, and all of a sudden,
I think any of the five. This is one of those any of the five.
It's any, right? But
any of the five.
Jazz, are you leaning toward one? I want to, Jazz. What's your?
I don't know. I think the Muppet Show, maybe, but then I'm not going to count
that's
out
a good call.
Taylor Swift because her name is on the ballot. So if they're taking,
I think it's hard. People are not going to.
Swift.
Yeah, I feel like people are going to see that and be like, yes, or they're going to be like, no, we hate her, because people either love her or love to hate her.
Yeah, and everyone loves Muppets. Everyone loves Muppets.
Or by the way, would have been great for the primetime and not night 1 or night 2. Like,
none of them are showing. Clayton Taylor's not going to any Emmys. That would never happen.
I don't know. Sometimes she always goes when she has an inkling she might win. She pops up. So
they would need to promise her that she was winning before she showed up. And I still don't think you can get away with that. PricewaterhouseCoopers would not allow that.
Yeah. I mean, remember, she went to the Golden Globes the year that she was nominated and lost.
That'll never happen again.
I know,
I remember the mass amount of people that walked her through that lobby. I was standing right there and filming.
So the creative arts is going to be popping with Sabrina, Taylor, Cynthia, and and Gaga.
Now it's actually night 1, right? So maybe they'll just call it, hey, Taylor, it's night 1. It's the first night of the Emmys. It's the biggest night.
Guys, I will be out of town for creative arts, and it's a crime, I know, but
so am I.
This is literally but you're going to a work thing. I'm literally on vacation because, as you guys know, I'm going to be shifting into film season directly after, meaning in the next hour, because Beth and I we're going to a film meeting right after this, where I have zero time off, that I was like, this is the 1 week, guys. And I know I'll be back for prime time, but I'm sadly missing creative arts. So I'm just hopping over to Italy real fast, and then I'll be back.
Can I offer one quick update, Mike, to something that you and I spoke about last week?
Yeah.
So, the question on everyone's mind surrounding variety series that we're going to have 4 or 5 winners. So hosted nonfiction for the past 2 years, at least, has been an area award that I don't think anyone has peeped at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we only get one winner there. And someone brought up to me this week and said that they think that people don't read it as they can say yes for everything, that they say yes for one and no for the others. And we haven't had multiple winners in hosted nonfiction. which leads me to believe I think we're just getting one winner in variety series after all this is said and done.
Yeah, the more I thought about the threshold,
the 90%,
that's
90's a lot.
That's impossible. So I think you're right. I think we are going to get one. So, Jesse Collins, you're welcome. You're actually going to have time to do the other things you wanted to do on the telecast, because you're right. I think it's going to be one. It's probably going to be Colbert.
Yeah, I think it's Colbert.
Yeah.
So you think it's just you don't think it's going to be a group again?
I don't, because we didn't see a group with hosted nonfiction, and the math is hard. Like 20,000 members. Let's just assume half of them, 10,000, and then you need 99,000 of those 10,000 to say yes to every single one, and that's like a lot.
Yeah.
And again, if people don't read it as like a normal, like if they don't read it as they can say yes for multiples, that is not like innate for people to think like that. And I think it's good that actually don't say yes to multiple. I am a purist that way. I think it's probably, we're going to end up with one.
Yeah.
I've come back to, I think it's just one.
Yeah.
We went full circle on this category.
No, you're right. I've been thinking about it too. And that 90% and talking to people, it's like, there's again, like that is such a high threshold. So,
Yep.
All right, let's get to your trivia question, Clayton.
All right, give me two of those individuals that have won in multiple categories.
For the same role.
For the same role.
Was it Claire Foy?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Claire Foy is one, yes, very good.
What about Uzo Aduba? Is that?
Uzo Aduba is another, yes. Okay. Can anyone name some more?
Together we came up with two.
Exactly. That's it.
Claire Foy was the only thing I knew.
No, there's a lot of recent famous ones.
Really?
Think of the White Lotus.
Oh, sure, Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge is another.
Of course.
Think of a nominee this year from a classic political show.
Allison
Janney for West Wing.
Yeah, just thinking
around.
Yeah.
And let's think about shows that have switched categories.
Was there any American Horror Story or any of that? I don't think so.
Jessica Lange she was always supporting. But we got the gist of it, but there was that interesting. There's only two men that have done it, and that was Christopher Lloyd and John Cryer for 2.5 Men. So Sean Hattasey would be.
So
it's Hattasey, right? Not Hodesy.
It's Hattasey.
Yes.
So you're saying that women can multitask.
Women can do a lot.
Got it.
I think women can do anything that men can do,
but better.
Even better.
Oh my God,
guys, I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
All right, gang. Well, we are wrapping up our interviews. Our final interview is with the delightful Jason Bateman, who we had a lot of fun with.
Nominated for 5 Emmys.
He is Emmy Overachiever of the Year.
Truly.
Pretty much. So had a great chat with him. He answers our questions. And shout out to our faithful listeners, by the way, although no one keeps I keep throwing out the phone number.
It's honestly rude.
Emmy Emergency Hotline, 617-9110, 323-617-9110. If you got a burning question, share it with us. We're running out of time.
Love this.
And we'll take next week off, guys, because everyone needs to recharge. But we'll be back as we head to the actual telecast. So,
can I give you just one Bateman fun fact?
Yeah.
Since we're about to go into him.
Yeah.
If Jason Bateman wins for Black Rabbit directing, he becomes a 2-time directing winner for 2 different shows after Ozark. Only 4 directors have won across 2 scripted genres. That's Jeff Bleckner, Thomas Schlam, David Nutter, and Ryan Murphy. So Bateman would be the 5th.
Yes.
I don't know how to say words. Yes, he'd be the 5th. Good man.
Wow.
All right.
Random fun fact, Clayton.
I know. I love fun, right?
I know you. I love fun.
Clayton's bringing the fun. All right. See you guys soon.
Bye. Bye.
After the break, Jason Bateman, a 4-time Emmy nominee this year for his work on Netflix's Black Rabbit and HBO Max's DTF St. Louis. From Los Angeles, this is the Variety Awards Circuit Podcast. All right, we're back. It's the Variety Awards Circuit Podcast. I'm your friendly host, Michael Schneider, and this is always intimidating to be doing a podcast with one of the hosts of one of the biggest podcasts in the world, Jason Bateman. Go ahead, judge me.
Your intimidation will fly away in about 2 seconds.
Go ahead, judge me. Judge our little rinky-dink operation here.
It's far more professional than our Zoom.
Than your podcast empire, though. That
I'm dressed for this one. I never dress for. I'm usually in pajamas for that one because it's just a Zoom from anywhere in the world. We three happen to be.
Yeah.
And we just kind of meet on the computer there. It's an embarrassingly light lift. Certainly not equal to how how fortunate the three of us are with what it's brought us and all of these nice people that come talk to us and make us a little bit smarter, Michael.
And do you feel smarter now after having done SmartList for as many years as you guys have?
Yeah, we try, you try to ask intelligent questions, but, you're sort of at the mercy of like the smartest question you can think up in the moment, because unless it's your guest, the guest is a total surprise to you.
Right. And
you don't have time to do any, kind of research or coming up with good questions, and so that is by design. That is to avoid work. That little feature, but maybe if we worked a little bit harder, we'd get a little bit smarter. I don't know.
No time to Google, no time to search it up.
No, although Sean and Will, you can hear them typing away sometimes, But I like to keep it sort of like the equivalent of getting stuck in an elevator with a hero, and they're your captive audience for 1 hour, and you can just ask them stuff that just hits the top of your mind.
It can be like embarrassing though, right? The times when you don't know who the person is.
It's if it's your guest, yeah, that would not be good. But no, hopefully you don't really know who. Or you don't have any relationship with the guest. The show has sort of kind of tacked over into kind of being a bit of a celebrity sort of interview podcast, whereas it kind of started as a bit of let's just get the most interesting people possible on there, scientists and authors and the like, and every once in a while one of our fancy on camera friends would stop by. But then, lo and behold, a bunch of people started listening, and so our sponsors started investing more in it, and sort of the quid pro quo on that is we'll get them as high a profile guest as we possibly can to make their spend worthwhile, I suppose. I don't know. So. Yeah. While Will and Sean and I might want to like book an astronaut here or there, we get a lot of incoming from big fancy high level, high profile celebrities, and it's hard to say no to them when it seems like that's what the audience and the sponsors want.
And it's fun. It's fun to hear you guys play as well. So
yeah, we love it. We love staying in contact.
Well, as we're sitting here today, it is the first day of Emmy voting.
Oh,
here
yeah?
It is. It is phase 2
Have
of
you done
Emmy
your votes?
voting.
Do you vote?
So I'm not allowed to vote. They don't
No?
let me in the room. It's I don't know if there's a conflict of interest. They don't like us unwashed press masses, but
really,
maybe it's for the best. Because who knows what I would
that
pick.
Makes sense. If I were smarter, I'd be able to really see what that is all about. But I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, there's no room for press there, but that's fine. That way we can sort of be impartial, I suppose.
Although the heads of some of the press, like the bosses of the press, I guess they get to vote, right? The people that own the companies and own the studios and things like that.
There is a big executive quotient of the TV Academy. So
where do they draw the line?
So yeah, Ted Sarandos is voting. So let's see if...
Well, but he doesn't have a press arm, does he, at Netflix? Like, maybe some of the studios that have these other holdings that like, the news networks and stuff like that, I guess that counts as press, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
See, these are the kinds of things where you'd get smarter if we had somebody on that was super bright.
Get us the TV Academy head right now to explain why some press are allowed to vote and some aren't. But I'm fine with it. But the big question now is, who is Ted Sarandos marking on his ballot today? And is Jason Bateman on that list of Sarandos's picks to click?
That's a really good question. I would be conflicted if I were him, right? Because he's got a few nominations over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does he cast his vote? He only gets one. So I guess you'd have to go with personal preference, right? If you're Ted, or you hand it over to.
He just goes straight ballot HBO, which I think is really it's really big of him.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, Casey Bloys has Sophie's Choice though with you guys with DTF, since all of you are in the supporting
that's right
actor categories.
That was a tough one. Well, I get the way it was explained to me was that since Black Rabbit came out earlier and I had already been nominated as lead for, I think, SAGs and the Golden Globes, that I was already sort of declared as a lead for that, and so I'd have to go in supporting for this.
Yeah, because you don't want to compete against yourself.
I guess so. Yes, that would be the
cancel
theory.
Yourself out. So
right. So I was my lot was cast there.
Yeah. But that means that you're now nominated. You're one of these, as we call it in the press, Emmy overachievers.
Well, I think you've got to win an Emmy for acting to be an overachiever in that category, though, right? I have not yet won. I won for directing, but never for acting.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
But nonetheless, this year with 4 nominations, across 2 different shows,
was a really fun morning.
It's nice, right? It's an embarrassment of riches, as they say.
Are you kidding? It's incredibly fun and flattering, and you obviously you don't do this work for the money or the accolades, but those things are, really sort of exciting and helpful and practical, and it's when you do something and it comes together as well as these 2 projects did. It's a little bit of magic, because there are so many people, as you know, that go into making these things and making them not fall flat on their face, which is really what they all want to do. That phrase about it's all kind of a magic trick is a bit tired, but it really is accurate. It's a miracle that any of these things work, because it's the ball is constantly wanting to drop. The magic trick is constantly wanting to be revealed. The camera is just inches away from revealing, the boom microphone that's just above frame, or the light that's just to the side of frame, or the actors just barely remembering their lines, but they're talented enough to look like they are not. There's just so much BS. It's all fake life, and so when it comes together and it's believable, and then it gets beyond believable into something moving, and then an audience finds it, and then there's enough people in that audience to make it a hit. It's just a lot of things that happen post actually making it that really needs to be lucky and magical to get to this conversation about the nominations, the awards, and all that kind of stuff. So I just feel so fortunate.
Yeah. Well, there's also, there's just something about the material that you've been doing and choosing, and something special or extra about this year, both Black Rabbit and DTF. When DTF was, haven't seen a show like that before. And so how much of that is, serendipity? How much of that is you're really just picking the right projects and the projects that really stand out, or there's something special about them? Or is it a little bit of luck? What's sort of the alchemy of sort of, consistently landing these kind of projects, working on these kind of projects?
Well, you have to be very, very fortunate that the folks, smarter, more talented, more powerful than you will pick up the phone and ask you to be a part of it. And that was the case in both Black Rabbit and DTF. While, yes, there was a lot of work on my part in developing and bringing Black Rabbit to screen, DTF was not. That is 100% Steve Conrad. That he wrote every word of those scripts and directed every minute of it. And that is his baby and deserves such a huge bucket of credit and thanks from me and anyone else that enjoyed it. It's just remarkable, truly, how talented he is and how long I've wanted to do something like this with him. We knew each other from years and years ago. And when I got this call, these scripts, I think it was just the first one or two, or no, I think it was all of them actually. Yeah. It was all of them because I remember. Yeah, I read them all in like a day and a half. I think it was 7 at that point. I don't think it was 8. I think it was 7 always. And he's such a unique writer and now director of his writing. He's figured out a few years ago how to direct his writing, and that's not something he was able to do earlier. I don't think he never got that job. He was this incredibly well-respected writer, but for one reason or another was not yet directing what he wrote. And now he is, starting, I think, with Patriot and a couple films before that. And there's a style to his directing that is equal to the uniqueness of his writing. And so I was just an obedient and grateful soldier, truly, to what he was doing there, and really curious about how it was all going to come together. Because the way first of all, the way it's written, it's all incredibly nonlinear, and then the way we shot it was we cross-boarded the whole thing. So, like for instance, on the first day, we shot the very first scene and the very last scene of the entire series.
Yeah.
And so there's just a great deal of sort of just running blind, and letting him be the eyes, and the guy, driving it. It was a completely different experience than what I had on Black Rabbit, where my job was to oversee the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it was exciting to do just that, just be the soldier and try to make everything come together in between action and cut, when, the cameraman and the actors are really the only sort of live and nimble elements, and no one can kind of get to you. And there's a lot of trust and faith put on those folks. And it's an honor to do that when somebody has done so much incredible work on the script, and they're going to do so much incredible work downstream in post, which he did. I mean, the editing style on this was incredibly complicated and nonlinear again. It wasn't just it was all broken up on script form, but he then reshuffled it again. In the editing room, which is just incredible what he did.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by block shooting when you're able to do that, and the idea that you're able to get in that emotional headspace and shoot that the finale, the final scenes so quickly when you haven't really even lived in this character yet, but still pull that off. That's a feat in itself. I'm sure you don't love it as an actor. You'd prefer to kind of shoot that final scene down the road, but you make it happen.
Yeah, you understand sort of the limitations and practicalities of shooting and scheduling and all that stuff. And what's fortunate is when you do have all the scripts written, because that's a rarity. So at least I knew what was in between A and Z, because we shot A and Z on that day. So at least I knew everything on its way there. What I did have to talk to Steve about was, what would he like the audience to feel as they're watching my character just sit there alone, swinging kind of aimlessly on a swing, in sort of a melancholy kind of place. Do we want to feel that he's happy now? Do we want to feel that he is completely devastated, that he's regretful, that he's guilty? What is it? So that was a really interesting conversation to have with him about what he was planning on doing with music there, and how perhaps the look on my character's face could either support that tonal target or juxtapose it. What is he doing with camera in that shot? How much of the frame is my character in? Is my guy center punched, or is he kind of over to the side? And is it more about the tableau of a lonely house in the background? And is he going to be squeaking on the swing? All that kind of stuff that you really want to know what part you're playing in this message to the audience, and what does he want from me? What does he need?
Yeah. I'm curious what your brain is like these days, actor versus director, and do they sort of, how much sort of like plays the other, and are you able to be an actor or just be a director, or is so much your brain now sort of in both worlds at the same time?
They are in both worlds at the same time, but they kind of always have been, and that's why I was so drawn to having the official job of directing, just because acting at an early age became so comfortable for me that I was able to really observe all the incredible work going on around me while I'm acting, all the technical work of the camera and sound and lighting, and what might be happening with editing later. And so I've always thought about all of that what a team it takes, and what not a small part, but acting ain't everything on these things. There's so much stuff that goes into it. And so if you are really aware of all those other departments that are maybe silently or imperceptibly rowing in the same direction as you, this sort of high-profile element, the one that's in front of the camera, it's good to keep those in mind, because you could all be working together to deliver this one feeling for the audience, that maybe you need to be a little quieter, sort of. Maybe not literally, but there's something that's going to be happening later in post that it ain't about you, actor. It's about what's going to happen in sound design, and how it'd be probably more helpful if you're less distracting with whatever's going on with your face or your body language, or, it's just it's a really beautifully complicated thing that a director tries to create for an audience. Not unlike a conductor, right? Of a symphony, we've got all these different sort of musical pockets, and everyone's got to kind of be at the right level to create that one sound,
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, since you've been sort of doing this for so long, I can see where it makes sense that it was such a natural progression to start directing, and now what do you kind of consider yourself more? Are you still an actor first who has become a director, or do you sort of feel like you're now more of a director who also still acts?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm enormously grateful that I'm still working in this industry, in this town. I mean, I've gained a lot of experience in this business, and one of the things that's really clear to me is that it's the best people are not guaranteed employment, and I certainly don't call myself one of the best people, but there is no guarantee to employment in this business, and so I love it so much, and it's not lost on me that I've been really fortunate to keep a job for this many years in this town, and to be doing stuff that's arguably better today than I've ever been a part of. So it's still ascendant, which is I'm so grateful. So whether that employment would continue as an actor or a director or a producer, I would be fortunate with any of those three. The fact that all three are happening right now in a way that I'm super proud of is really humbling. And the directing is something that asks me to use all the things that I've been able to learn. And so I think anybody in any profession would love to have the job that asks them to be the best that they can be based on what they've learned in their job. And that's why people want promotions and feel that they may be worthy of raises, et cetera, et cetera. And so if there's room to grow, that's the job you want. That's a company you want to work for. And people like, I mentioned Ted earlier. Ted Sarandos has been an incredible supporter of mine and given me, just very humbling opportunities. And so I love the job of directing. I love the job of acting in the stuff that I direct. Maybe I'm a masochist, or maybe my addiction issues are alive and well, and at least pointed in something that's a bit more productive than 30 years ago. But I do love the responsibility of trying to craft something for the audience that they're gonna see, they're gonna hear, they're gonna feel. Yes, you can do that as an actor, but you can do even more of it as a director because you're working on the scenes that maybe as an actor you wouldn't be a part of. You're handling all the actors. You're handling all the camera department, the sound department, lighting department, post prep. It's a lot, and I love it.
Yeah, shout out to the fact that you're able to still do all these things, that you have been doing these for years. Ozark was a huge, beyond Arrested Development, sort of the next level. Also, shout out to your hair, by the way. You still have such good hair, Jason Bateman, and I
appreciate that. My wife and my kids reminded me actually on this. I was out of town a couple of weeks ago with them, and it's receding. The hairline's finally going back into something that's more age appropriate for me. So, and they said there's some gray coming in too. So here comes, I'm going to finally start looking like a bit more of an adult, which is kind of nice.
I suppose so, but hold on to it. You're still, you're still super youthful, which I think makes a big difference.
You're gorgeous over there. Look at you.
Somehow I appreciate that, but yet I know it's a big lie. So let's talk real quick more about your two projects that you're nominated for this year, because Vince and Clark, when you look at these two characters, was there one that you sort of felt a little more relatable to, or they're both such tragic, but yet likable characters. I get the motivations of both of them. I feel for both of them. I can kind of relate to both of them.
I know it. And I hear the question mark you put on the end of likable, and that was one of the things that really interested me about it, is that both of these guys are pretty unlikable on paper. Vince is just a disaster, kind of a broken, self-destructive guy. Clark's, the main sort of plot point for him is, he wants to cheat on his wife, and so, yet they are both just heartbreakingly relatable,
human
and flawed, and they just don't have the coping skills that most of the viewers have. Sane people would kind of wrap this up in an episode or two. These guys, they needed a bit more, and poor Vince didn't even have enough. So
right. Vince started the domino effect that it did, like, there wouldn't have been a show if he hadn't just shown up one day.
So with Vince in Black Rabbit, there are plenty of guys in my life that I've known that are just beautiful people, but they just can't get out of their way, and they're a little self-destructive, and but they're no less lovable. They're no less, human, as you said. So I knew that it might take an episode or two, or maybe more, for the audience to learn to kind of like him, but hopefully they got there by the time he decided to do what he does in the last episode. And then, with Clark, there's, I was saying, I apologize, in another interview, that something that really kind of made a lot of sense to me coming out of my mouth, which was, I've spent a lot of time playing characters that are very good at the swagger, or at least present as good at it, but are much dumber than they know how to present, much less confident than they seem. You know, the artifice is well worked on, and it's just all BS. And there's great humor in sort of seeing those cracks, you know, as an audience member. He's not aware of the cracks, but, you know, it's like he's not really pulling it off. Sometimes that can be really funny. And it can also be really heartbreaking in a drama, too, if somebody thinks that, you know, someone's buying it more than they actually are. In this case, this guy doesn't have any of those abilities to kind of fake it. He is just a raw virgin in so many different areas, and there was something so attractive to me to be able to play a guy that is just so genuinely kind and nice and enamored with this guy Floyd, you know, and so deferential to him, and just so appreciative to have his friendship and to be around him, and to, you know, effectively kind of fall in love with him. And sort of the sexuality stuff that was kind of running through it, both heterosexually and homosexually, it was interesting and complicated and confusing. And you know, I just really loved playing this guy that just doesn't get it like a lot of us do or have learned to pretend to, you know?
Yeah, and the little pieces of like the aspects of all these different characters, Linda's character as well, you know, that referee outfit that she wears, that's, you know, sort of, you know, clearly, you know, hiding something and trying to protect herself from something. There's so much layer to what is in this series.
Yeah, you got, if you haven't yet, you got to speak to Steve. He's just such an incredible mind, and his ability to layer all those thematics in something that on its surface is sort of the MacGuffin, you know, of the murder mystery, you know, which he talks about, sort of this disposable hook, you know, which is a phrase tossed around a bit, you know, appropriately in this town sometimes. So there's a lot to that show, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. It's so thrilling that HBO gave us such a great sort of platform to show off what we were all so proud of, and that audience there that you know, pulls up a chair on Sunday nights and expects to be, you know, wowed with some of that stuff, and I think Steve really delivered something that was worthy of their attention.
Yeah, and you had, I mean, what a fun year to, you know, play opposite, you know, do the whole brothers aspect of Black Rabbit and Jude Law, and then playing with David Harbour, who I think this is his best work he's ever done.
Yeah, I agree. What a great job he did, and Linda.
Yeah, of course, Linda too. So,
and Joy and Richard, and I mean, it's like, it's amazing.
It was a good year. It was a good year for you.
Yeah.
But you just told me you were 5 months away, so you're working on something special. Can you tell us about it? Or?
Yeah, I just finished the principal photography portion of a film I directed called "Cackling of the Dodos" for Netflix. That it's a script that Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson brought me and said, you know, would you direct us in this? And I was like, yeah, you know, I didn't even really need to read it, you know, and you get that kind of call from those two guys. And so it's a dark comedy about these two guys who they run a farm, and they find a dead body in the grain bin and try to figure out how to get rid of it and create a couple of more dead bodies doing it. It's kind of like an old Coen Brothers type of film.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's Jason Bateman going in that Ozark territory.
Yeah,
very
with
cool.
A splash of Arrested Development.
Yeah, with a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
One of the things we've been doing with our guests is going back and looking at their first time in Variety.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that goes back to the Army Archer days, I'll bet.
Oh yeah, way back.
Yeah.
This goes back to the 70s. Your first time in Variety was in November 16, 1979. How old were you?
79 I would have been 10. So was that Little House on the Prairie?
So this is, I guess we had a column once called Agents Alley, and we just like listed people who were represented, and you were a new client with the Dorothy Day
Otis
Jack Rose agency, and you're the only name on this list who I recognize. So apologies to everyone else, but there you are. It was like a laundry list of people, and this was that your first rep, or?
Yeah, I think so, and yeah, definitely. But I think that might have been Tracy Jacobs may have been my agent, and then. She went on to be, an Uber agent that I was not worthy of her representation for a long time. And then finally we ended up working together again, I think when I was, I don't know, somewhere in my 40s. And we had another great run together. And that was. I remember getting an agent for the first time. That was an interesting process.
Was that during Little House on the Prairie, or was
I think it may have been just right before. I think that was. It was after this educational film or a film for colleges that was taken from Ray Bradbury's Illustrated Man, one of the short stories. I'd done one of those little films, and then I was like, well, Dad, I should get an agent maybe and do some commercials and try to work my way in, and so he took pictures of me and off we went.
Yeah, no, because soon after, another thing we must have used to do at Variety is we listed pitches, like when you got an ad deal, like and you're listed here for doing pitching for Remco Toys.
That sounds very familiar. There was a commercial for Remco, maybe?
Yeah, must have been.
Yeah, I did a bunch of commercials. I mean, that's sort of the path, right? You do a bunch of commercials and you get some guest spots, and then you start reading for pilots, and then maybe one day you get some feature film auditions, and it was so fun to just not be in school. You know?
Yeah. No, that was the crazy path. And I think last time I talked to you, I mentioned that I still think about you wearing that Northwestern sweatshirt in the Hogan Family. So I think maybe that inspired me to go to Northwestern was
really
seeing you on Hogan Family wearing that sweatshirt. So the purple, yes. Okay, so we got 10 questions for you, real quick, just whatever comes to mind. Okay. So we're going to wrap this up right now. So Jason, first question, what was your childhood nickname?
Jaco. My dad used to call me.
Jaco,
yeah.
That's kind of cool. Why don't we bring that back?
Go for it. I just, you can't nickname yourself. So if you start it, then I have to respond.
What was something you loved as a kid that you look back now and you're like, I can't believe I was into that?
I mean, I would play arcade games 10 hours a day. And I think I'd still do that if I had the time. So I can believe that I was into that.
Yeah.
In fact, the first time I made, some money, I got my parents to let me buy a Donkey Kong machine, like a real stand-up arcade machine. And we put it in the garage, and I just played it all day, all night.
Oh, you must have been the coolest kid, right? Because everyone showing up, I got the Donkey Kong in the garage.
Yeah, and I got really good at it too. In fact, I can still hear the noise of him walking. Anyway.
Yeah.
That I loved. I loved playing video games.
And of course, that reminds me of watching Silver Spoons and remembering how cool it was that at that house they had all
Ricky
those
and
video
I got
games.
Very good at Pac-Man, Missile Command, Dragon's Lair, Centipede. I think those were the stand-up games that were on the set. We'd play those when we weren't shooting all the time.
Yeah, those are the classics. Yeah. What is your go-to karaoke song or song in the shower?
I'm so horrified with the sound of my own voice singing. I don't even sing in the shower.
Not even alone.
I don't sing
Not
in the
even
car. No.
Windows up. Nothing.
I'd cringe myself right out of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your? Give me an alternate title for Black Rabbit.
Let's see. One and one make none.
Okay.
I mean, it's like he was kind of half good at being a brother, and I was kind of half good at being a brother, and together maybe we'd make one good one. But it never really worked out.
That's legit. Secret talent.
If I properly ball up a piece of chewing gum, I can tilt my head straight back and hover it above my lips by blowing a stream of air.
Really?
Yeah.
So
that's my go-to stupid human trick.
That's pretty good though.
It's not bad. I can do it with a pea, but a piece of gum is more impressive.
Is there video of you doing this anywhere?
I think I may have done it on a talk show
Yeah.
at one point. I don't think I ever had the talent when Letterman was still going.
Yeah.
But I would have that would have been my entry.
We'll have to find that. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I like. I mean, I'm a cookies and cream guy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not very exciting. I sound like Sean Hayes, At least I'm not saying vanilla like him. Christ.
Exactly. You're throwing some cookies in there. That's
Yeah.
cool. What's the one item you couldn't live without? And we've had to outlaw people who've been saying family. So suddenly that's too easy.
Classical music takes me to a place where I think the best part of me lives, and where my best thinking and processing and planning comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I love it for many reasons, and I think it started with my dad kind of getting me into it, like he did with movies and television, but then really seeing how classical music is used in film and television is from 2001 or Apocalypse Now or Amadeus or any of the John Williams. I mean, it's just like it's incredible.
Yeah.
So I listen to classical music almost all day, every day.
Do you play it?
No, no, I should. But yeah, my parents taught me how to play piano a little too young before I could appreciate it. So it was just sort of like a chore, and so that's kind of kept me away from it. But I love listening to it. I love going to see it, and I love trying to put it in anything I direct.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the next challenge now. Let's get you a Grammy on top of everything else. So we'll work on that. What TV show in all of history do you wish you were a cast member of?
Faulty Towers, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of John Cleese, and sitcoms is obviously something that is kind of a part of my DNA, and that was one of the best ones. And then staying on that side of the ocean, what Ricky Gervais did with The Office was just stunning to me. That would have been incredible to be a part of. And speaking of him, I've actually just caught Alley Cats last week.
Yeah.
It is just fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
A cartoon of his on Netflix. It's just funny as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny, and the number of people who say Arrested Development, by the way, for this question.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, listen, it's not. I am very aware of how great that show was, and how funny that cast was. I mean, I was laughing 100% of the time, and then not even to speak of sort of the life preserver it was for my career too. So for many reasons, I cannot be more thankful to be a part of that one.
What fictional character from either literature, film, television do you most admire?
What fictional character?
Yeah.
Boy, Michael.
This one's a little.
I don't know. I mean, that's millions and millions and millions of characters.
It's a lot.
Most admire. I don't know. I have to take a pass on that one, because there would be many right answers for me.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Yeah, there's so many different things to admire. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll call you back on
Okay,
that.
let me know. Well, on the next podcast, we'll get to it. And finally, what's your favorite personal piece of advice, either you give or someone has given you?
I don't know. I mean, this sounds a bit earnest and probably a bit cliche, but it really is. It really is true, and something that's so needed for anybody that's got the sort of the kind of complicated thing of kind of fame and having a public job and stuff, but or any position of leadership, doing unto others as you would want them to do to you. It's when I meet somebody on the street, and if I might not be in the, some great mood, or I'm with the family or something like that, it's like, that's just one moment that they have. They may have been watching me do stuff for years on television or film or whatever, and want to say hi and say that they like show X or movie Y or whatever. And if I were to like be short or dismissive of that, that's what they're going to now be. That's louder than anything that they've watched. Mm-hmm. And so how, if I walked up to, Bill Murray and he was in a crap mood, well, that's all I'm going to think of now every time I see him do. And now it's going to ruin Bill Murray for me. So I try to remember that, and when I'm directing something, and if I'm, it's nonstop thinking. You got to think of four corners of everything at all moments. And if there's a crew member that might have an idea or a thought about how, I might want to consider doing something, it's sort of cliche for a director to be dismissive of anyone collaborating with them. And that then shuts down, any possible great ideas that might be coming from that person or a person that observed that, tomorrow, the next week. So I try to put myself in the other person's position as much as possible. I'm certainly far from perfect and far from consistent, but I try to be, better every day. People help me with that, my wife for one, my kids for others, and people I work with. I really love working with kind people that are super talented. It used to be, well, as long as you're super talented, it makes it kind of okay to deal with all the other nonsense. It's just that's kind of out of fashion, has been for the past few years, and you've got to be talented and kind nowadays. So I love pulling those groups together.
Yeah, no, I mean, and listen, if everyone followed that, then the world would be a better place. I mean, quite honestly, it would be nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that is the majority of folks around the planet. It's curious when some sneak by and get into positions of leadership that are not like that. It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Jason Bateman, congratulations on your Emmy overachievement.
Thank you, buddy.
The EO, as we now call it. I don't know, but and all my best. Looking forward to what's next.
Great, thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's Jason Bateman, a nominee and limited actor for Netflix's Black Rabbit, limited supporting actor for HBO Max's DTF St. Louis, limited director for Black Rabbit, and limited series as an executive producer on DTF St. Louis. And that's it for this edition of Variety's Awards Circuit Podcast. If you've got questions for the Awards Circuit Podcast Roundtable, drop us a line at the Emmy Emergency Hotline, 323-617-9110, and you may appear on a future episode. Be sure to subscribe to the Awards Circuit Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. Also, head on over to Variety.com and click on the Awards Circuit tab to find the latest awards predictions and key races, as well as your daily fix of news, analysis, and reviews. For Jazz Tanke, Emily Longaretta, and Clayton Davis, I'm Michael Schneider, and we'll see you on the circuit.